Here's my reaction to the AP poll for Week 8. We had some craziness happen inside of college football this weekend. We saw Penn State fire, James Franklin today. We've seen the likes of Oregon lose to Indiana. Even though Oregon was at home, we saw Ohio State continue to win football games and have a really good defense. We saw Alabama hold off Missouri. These are some of the things we saw. But we're going to walk through each of these teams inside of the top 25 and, jump around and give y'all some feedback about how I feel about, some of these teams in the top 25. So, number one, Ohio State. Well, first I'll say this before I even jump to Ohio State. I think every single team inside of college football are beatable. I think there's there's a chance that every single team can lose this season. I don't think anyone is unbeatable. I want to mention a couple teams inside of the top 10 who I think could definitely lose. But starting with the number one spot, Ohio State. They deserve that spot. No one has showed that they can beat that team. And I'm going to go with Ohio State right now to stay at that number one spot. Number two, Miami. Again, their offense, their defense, everything's clicking. It's their game to lose. It's Carson Beck's game to lose. Next up, number three, Indiana. Got the win over Oregon this weekend at Oregon. I had this prediction, and I had Indiana winning that game. I just think that they, to me, are more equipped than Oregon is. I think, I watched their Northwestern game, and I felt a little shaky about Oregon. And so, yeah, that's why I took Indiana, and they played some really good football. Now, let's talk about number 4 and 5. You got Texas A&M and Ole Miss. I do not think they are two top 5 teams inside of college football. I just don't. I don't believe in either of those teams to go far inside of the college football playoffs. I could be wrong here, but I just don't think so. In my opinion, I think I like Tennessee. I like Alabama a little bit more. I don't love Georgia. I think LSU potentially could show fraud alert as well. But right now, I don't love number 4 or number 5, Ole Miss. I think Alabama has a really good offense. Yes, they struggled against Mizzou this weekend. Mizzou aren't a bad football team inside of the SEC for sure, but they definitely did struggle. And so, to stay at that number 6 spot is pretty interesting. But you have Texas Tech, who I think are really good, and I also think Utah are pretty good. They are going to be dropping drastically inside of the top 25 because they got a big game this upcoming week as well. Utah does, and I think you will see them inside of the top 20 at the end of next weekend. But Oregon, they go to that number 8 spot. I don't think they're a bad football team. I just think they don't look as dominant as they were last season, and so that's why I have Oregon at that number 8 spot. Georgia, again, I don't think they're as dominant either. I arguably think that they, you look at Georgia, I think, LSU potentially are better football team than them. I think Alabama beat them. I think Alabama may be a better football team than them. To me, it just doesn't look like the dominant success. They struggled against that Auburn team, and arguably Auburn should have been up 17-0 going into halftime, and that game potentially might be over. I think Georgia got lucky with that game, and I think their luck is going to run out at one point. Their luck will run out. LSU at the number 10 spot, I don't think they've done enough to lose that spot, so that's why they sit there. At the number 11 spot is Tennessee. I think they're a pretty good team. I think we'll see them inside the top 10 before it's all said and done. Same with Georgia Tech. I think they're a really good team with a really good offense, a really good scheme. They just play football the right way. They run systems the right way. That's why I like Georgia Tech. And I think they are the best team inside of the ACC. And so next up, you have Notre Dame sits at that 13th spot. I think that's fair. They're going to finish with 2 losses. They get one more loss. They're out of the college football playoffs, and that's just the reality of what that team is. Oklahoma, after losing this weekend to Texas, they fall from that number 4 spot to that number 14 spot. I think I don't love Texas, man. I think Texas has a really good defense. They have a terrible offense. Arch Manning is not exactly who people think he is. But they are now back into the top 25 at the number 21 spot. But I definitely think Oklahoma are on fraud watch. And I think we will probably see them fall just like Penn State did. And I don't know about losing 3 straight, but I definitely will see them fall. BYU sits at number 15 spot, being the best team inside of the Big Ten. Or not the best team, but one of the best teams inside of the Big Ten. Missouri sits at the number 16 spot after taking Bama to a 3-point game. Vanderbilt at 17. They haven't done anything wrong. I think, they're still inside of that spot there. Virginia, SEC or ACC team sits at that number 18 spot, same as South Florida. Good, 2 really good teams when it comes to their systems, and they're playing football the right way. They're developing within the system, and they're just doing a really good job. USC goes at the number 20 spot. after beating Michigan this weekend. That's a big win for them. I like it a lot. I think Michigan, they aren't there. They don't have it completely. I think Bryce Underwood needs another year, maybe even 2 inside of college football in order for him to take that next step. But he's very, very young, and you can tell that he's very, very young. Texas at that number 21 spot, don't love them there. I don't think they should be inside of the top 25 anymore. I think they definitely have lost their tracks inside of college football, in my opinion. And so, so 21 for Texas. Memphis, don't understand how Memphis are below Texas at this point, but Memphis, Utah, who I think will end up being inside of the top 15 when it's all said and done. Utah are a very, very good team. Cincinnati, Nebraska, I don't think they're going to be in the top 25 or the top 15, but I do think they are some really good football teams. Let me know what y'all think down in the comments about the week 8 AP poll.